a heavy load, but I'll be back. Ooh, wishing you were here. Pay the price, make a sacrifice, and still I'll try. Ooh, wishing you were
Please have a seat. Good afternoon to you all. My name is Paula, and it is my privilege to lead this service. And a very warm welcome on behalf of Tony's daughters, Louise and Kelly. And thank you so much for coming. Whether you are a family member, a long-term friend, a neighbour, or you knew Tony through some other link like the Brooklands Museum, the connection and bond you formed with Tony is what has drawn you here today to pay your respects and to honour Tony's memory at this time of farewell. Living to the age of 88 is a fine achievement. Tony kept healthy until well into his 80s and lived independently. And across nearly 9 decades, Tony always enjoyed life. He loved his family, his daughters and grandchildren, his sister, nephews and nieces, some by marriage. And along the way, Tony made many long-standing friendships. And all of you will have been on the receiving end of Tony's sense of humour. And that remained ever present. Understandably, there is sadness that you are here today to say the final goodbye to Tony. But that should be tempered with happiness, because as this service will remind us, Tony was a man who had a life well lived. And as well as his family and his friends, Tony was able to spend most of his life around the things he loved to work on, planes and cars. So Louise and Kelly wanted to celebrate Tony's life through the tributes, music and poetry that we will listen to. Louise and Kelly have asked me to read the first tribute on their behalf, and it is an honour to do so. Anthony, or Tony as he liked to be called, was born on the 18th of January 1937 in Molesey. He was Kathleen and Walter Amos's second child. Pam was his big sister. Tony survived pneumonia, which he caught when he was put outside on a mattress because it was mistakenly thought he had TB. And it seems that's how TB was treated back then. On his 16th birthday, Tony started a 5-year apprenticeship at the Cardinal Engineering Company Limited to train as a toolmaker, which he completed at the age of 21. In 1964, he took a job at Byfleet Machine and Tool, where he worked for many years. In 1970, he moved from his family home to 9 Old Orchard in Byfleet. He met Jackie at BMT the following year, and they were married in July 1971. Tony and Jackie started a family with Louise in 1974, followed by Kelly 3 years later. In 1975, they bought their house at Brooklands Road in Weybridge. This house, with the green door, was where the girls grew up. In his spare time, Tony could be found tending the veg patch, in the garage sorting out his tools, or happily tinkering under the latest family car, the Haynes manual, close at hand. Over the years, there were several Opel Mantas, which apparently needed 2 Hayes manuals, an Austin Maxi, and an old hybrid Jag that Louise and Kelly were convinced would blow up. Every car had to have a tow bar for the camping trailer. And camping was how the family spent their holidays, mainly in Cornwall and Wales. Jackie would check the campsite toilets were up to scratch before the family committed to pitching their large tent with sleeping compartments. On one occasion, when the tent started leaking during a thunderstorm, Tony was frantically painting the inside with reproofer. The next year, the family upgraded to a static caravan, and a few years later, they took a coach trip to Spain. One memorable Christmas, Tony made beautiful Cindy toy accessories as Christmas presents for the girls. Louise's Cindy caravan, with a lift-off top, had the most amazing detail, like the hob and sink, and seats that folded up. Kelly's Cindy horsebox had a personalised number plate, Kelly 1. And Tony also handmade puzzles and games for his nephews and nieces as their Christmas presents. Tony was close to his sister Pam and her husband Peter. There were family trips to visit them at their holiday caravan in Selsey, and the 2 couples went to dinner dances together. Tony liked dancing, and apparently he was quite nifty at the jive. In the 80s, he even bought the family a good Technic sound system, which he still has to this day. If a track had a beat, Tony enjoyed a bop and never grew out of enjoying a dance. He enjoyed a wide variety of music, from Chicago, Elkie Brooks and the Carpenters to AC/DC. And in later life, the radio was always on in the kitchen. Tony's work moved from Byfleet Machine and Tool to BAE, initially in Weybridge, then later as a toolmaker or aircraft fitter at Kingston, which included a 6-month stint in Chester, which Tony did as a weekly commute. And towards the end of his working life, he worked at National Rescue, a job he loved because he got to use all his skills and all the knowledge he had built up about cars. It was through this job that Steve met and became friends with Steve, and he helped with the maintenance of his team of racing Jags for his company Fake It. Again, Tony was in his element, tinkering with the cars. He liked to follow F1 and once went to Le Mans. Tony was always happy to help friends and neighbours with cars or maintenance issues. He was keen that Kelly and Louise should learn how to do things, so his stock phrase was, "I'll do it with you." Before Kelly started driving lessons, Tony insisted she learn how to change a tyre and how to maintain the car. One time, Tony had just mended Louise's Ford Fiesta after a pram when Kelly wrote it off. Tony took it all in his stride, relieved that Kelly had survived unscathed. In the 1980s, Tony became a volunteer at the Brooklands Museum. Tony was a volunteer there for more than 35 years, so was almost part of the furniture. He loved the cars in the museum, but spent more time working on the planes. He was the proud recipient of a Lifetime Achievement Award for Avionics from Aviation Heritage UK for his contributions to preserving aviation heritage. He also loved working on Millie, the vintage recovery vehicle. The Brooklands connections provided a good social network, and Tony made many friends, including his good friends Andy and Julian, who worked for the museum. After Tony and Jackie went their separate ways in 1998, the Brooklands Museum kept him busy, and along with a bit of travel abroad, taking a couple of cruises in the Caribbean. Tony enjoyed being a granddad to Charlotte, Livy, Evan and Reed. He loved family Christmases, watching the grandchildren open their presents and play together. Last year, he was able to take the 2 eldest grandchildren to the pub, whilst Kelly stayed home to cook the Christmas dinner. Charlotte has fond memories of Grandad being their own personal tour guide on trips to the Brooklands Museum. A lot of time was spent with his oldest nephew, Graham, Pam's son, and his partner, Debbie. Tony was someone with a very dry, observational sense of humour. His classic retort to the question, "Are you all right?" was, "No, I'm half left." He was a lifelong fan of puddings. The sweeter and the creamier, the better. And he enjoyed a beer or the occasional whiskey. Tony was lucky to have good health until well into his 80s. He lived happily and independently in his house in Byfleet. He welcomed the friends who popped in to see him. He enjoyed seeing Kelly and Louise and his weekly shopping trips to Tesco, where he often nonplussed the cashiers once with some humorous quip. Tony, your family and friends will miss you, your willingness to help others, and your sense of humour. As we just heard in the tribute, Tony had a wide taste in music. Simon and Garfunkel were a duo who made it to his music collection. And Louise and Kelly have chosen their song The Sound of Silence for our period of reflection. As the music plays, please use the time to recall your personal memories of Tony and what connected you.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I'm going to talk with you again. Because religions signs and the words of the poets are written on the subway wall. Telephone, it's ringing, the sound of silence.
Julian became a good friend through Tony's volunteer work at Brooklands Museum. He's going to say a few words for us.
Thank you, Paula. Good afternoon, everyone. At the risk of slight repetition of Paula's eulogy, I'll start by just saying about Tony's career. He was a trained toolmaker, as we know. After previously working in Byfleet, he joined British Aerospace at Brooklands in the early 1980s. And when its closure was announced in 1986, he transferred to the company's former Sopwith and later Hawker aircraft factory in Kingston. He worked there mostly on night shifts, manufacturing Harrier jump jets, some of the last ones to be built, before this site closed in 1992. Having already joined Andy and Jeff Lambert's company, the Brooklands-based Vehicle Recovery Operators National Rescue, as a part-time driver and mechanic in 1992, he went full-time and then became their compound manager by 1995. When he was doing that job, Alan Poet taught him advanced forklifting skills and how to operate recovery vehicles, forklifts and mobile cranes, most notably Millie and the Brooklands Bell. In 1998, he transferred to National Rescue's sister company, Mobile Tracking Systems in Fareham, and there he fitted data terminals and GPS trackers into emergency vehicles before he retired in 2002. He'd already in 2001 had found a new spare time role as chief engineer for Steve Avery's motor racing team, and the modified Jaguar that Tony designed won the championship outright in its first season. He was well respected among the Jaguar racing fraternity and one of the most popular figures in the paddock. I first met Tony in spring 1989 when he joined a team of volunteers who enabled me as Brooklands Museum's aviation curator to acquire a 1950s Hawker Hunter jet fighter by road from nearby Brooklands College. He subsequently became a regular museum volunteer for more than the next 3 decades. And at Brooklands, he was always a very willing, capable and popular member of our many project teams, particularly using his engineering or with his engineering knowledge and skills. The many challenges we faced over the years with major aircraft acquisitions, such as the Hawker Hurricane, Vickers Vimy and Concorde, benefited significantly from Tony's dedicated support. I can still see him now forklifting Concorde parts off a lorry in a snowstorm in winter in the dark. And he also regularly volunteered at Brooklands Fly-ins, which we ran for many years, with site maintenance work parties, helped maintain many of the museum's vehicles, also supported Byfleet Parish Day and helped save Byfleet Fire Station. There is clearly insufficient time today to fully acknowledge Tony's involvement in numerous other events and activities, but I just want to summarise these achievements by saying he made a major contribution to Brooklands Museum's success and was one of its longest serving volunteers. And as Paula said, this was recognised nationally when he was presented with an Aviation Heritage UK Lifetime Achievement Award in October 2023. And finally, Tony was a loyal friend to me and others, particularly those he knew through Brooklands. He often enjoyed social events with many of us and was always great company, loved to joke with everyone, always had a twinkle in his eye. I know we shall all miss him greatly, and I certainly learned a lot from him and feel privileged to have known him. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julian, for those lovely words. Usually our goodbyes are a two-way thing. A few words, perhaps a kiss, a hug, a wave of the hand. By being here this afternoon, you can say your own goodbye to Tony. This poem, called Remember Me, perhaps sums up what Tony would have wanted to say as his goodbye to you all. Don't remember me with sadness. Don't remember me with tears. Remember all the laughter we've shared throughout the years. Now I am contented that my life it was worthwhile, knowing that as I passed along the way, I made somebody smile. And when you're walking down the street and you've got me on your mind, I'm walking in your footsteps, only half a step behind. So please, don't be unhappy just because I'm out of sight. Remember that I'm with you each morning, noon, and night. Please, could I ask you to stand if you're able to for the committal. The time has come when we will say a final farewell. Tony, as we commit you back to nature, we say, thank you for everything you were and all that you gave. Thank you for your love and your friendship. Thank you for your kindness and your humour, and for your positive outlook on life. We say goodbye, but the vibrancy of your life, a life well lived, will never fade. Love and light to you on this, your final journey. Rest in peace. Please take a seat. thank you once again for coming this afternoon and being a part of Tony's final journey and looking back on a life well lived. We often talk about legacy. In Tony's case, it is twofold. The first is the legacy of love and friendship and wonderful memories of the times that you shared with him. Tony's second legacy is one of service. For over 30 years, so generously giving his time and his skills to the Brooklands Museum. So there's a wonderful symmetry that after the service there is a reception at Brooklands Museum. Now Julian shared a couple of memories in his tribute, but I'm sure that there are many, many more stories about Tony, so please do join Tony's family after the service, as it offers the perfect opportunity to swap your stories and share your happy reminiscences. And I'm told that the instruction is to please use the entrance after the Brooklands Hotel to get to the reception. And should you wish to donate in memory of Tony, details are on the back of your order of service. When I met with Louise and Kelly, they told me that Tony liked the humour of the two Ronnies and Monty Python. And our exit music really sums up Tony's approach to life. I'm sure he would want everyone to leave here with the same PMA, positive mental attitude. And if you have an earworm for the rest of the day, I have a feeling it would appeal to Tony's sense of humour.
Some things in life are bad, they can really make you mad. Other things just make you swear and curse. When you're chewing on life's gristle, don't grumble, give a whistle. And this'll help things turn out for the best. And always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the light side of life. If life seems jolly rotten, there's something you've forgotten, and that's to laugh and smile and dance and sing. When you're feeling in the dumps, don't be silly chumps. Just purse your lips and whistle, that's the thing. Hey, always look on the bright side of life. Come on. Always look on the bright side of life. For life is quite absurd, and death's the final word. You must always face the curtain with a bow. Forget about your scene, give the audience a grin. Enjoy it, it's your last chance anyhow. So always look on the bright side of death. Just before you draw your terminal breath. Life's a piece of shit when you look at it. Life's a laugh and death's a joke, it's true. You'll see it's all a show, keep them laughing as you go. Just remember that the last laugh is on you. And always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the right side of life. Come on, Brian, cheer up. Always look on the right side of life. Always look on the right side of life. Worst things happen at sea, you know. Always look on the right side. I mean, what you got to lose? You know, you come from nothing, you're going back to nothing. What you lost? Nothing. Always look on the right side of life. Nothing will come from nothing, you know what I say? Cheer up, you old bugger. Come on, give us a grin. There you are. See? It's the end of the film. Incidentally, this record's available in the foyer. Someone's got to live